Hey, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Evan coming to you with another video, right? We are continuing our coverage of the LA riots, not protests, because these are riots. We know better, right? I wanted to go ahead and cover this continuously because in addition to the National Guard being sent, the Marines have now been sent, 700 to be specific. Hey, brothers and sisters, stay safe out there. I'm a veteran, a Navy veteran. I got a lot of love for the Marines, even though we go back and forth on some stuff. But nonetheless, I think it's an important thing to cover, and I actually wanted to cover it from CNN's perspective. I know they're a bunch of lunatics, but sometimes you need to hear what your opposition is saying so you could properly counter it. And after that, I want to hear some statements made by the Mexican president regarding the riots. But before we get into all that, I would really appreciate if you would please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps grow the channel, and I hope that you'll join me for this journey of me bringing you a comprehensive and entertaining coverage of the news. You feel me? You do that? Appreciate it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into things.
Sources tell CNN that more than 700 U.S. Marines have been mobilized to respond to protests in Los Angeles, some of which turned violent over the weekend. One county.
Did you guys hear that? Did he repeat himself? he's reading the teleprompter. More than 700 Marines. More than 700 Marines. Goodness gracious, man. Think for yourself.
Official called last night, quote, probably one of the most volatile nights in the city's recent history. Police declared all of downtown Los Angeles, an area of about 5 square miles, an unlawful assembly area after a third night of protests turned violent. The Los Angeles police chief late last night saying, quote, this violence that I've seen is disgusting, unquote. Some of the protesters, or more accurately, rioters, shot commercial-grade fireworks at law enforcement officers.
Did you hear that? CNN admitting rioters. They won't change their headline, though. No, that's going too far. But at least they acknowledge it in verbiage that these are rioters. This is no longer protesting. Even the LAPD, as woke as they are, have announced this is an unlawful assembly. This is no longer a protest. This is no longer a mostly peaceful protest, right? An overwhelmingly peaceful protest, as Kamala Harris likes to put it. Wow, at least we're making some progress on that side.
Officers. Others set self-driving cars on fire. CNN witnessed police using flashbangs and tear gas to disperse crowds. Police arrested 27 people just yesterday alone. All of this started on Friday. That's when Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, conducted workplace raids in LA. The Department of Homeland Security said operations in LA last week resulted in the arrest of 118 undocumented immigrants, including 5 gang members and others with prior criminal histories of drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to children, domestic violence.
Go ahead, read it for a second. I'll pause here for a second. Really soak it in. Drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to children, domestic violence, robbery, alien smuggling. And I can assure you, there are more charges than that. Like, goodness gracious, man. This is who they're defending. This is who they're crusading for, who they're burning their city down for. And anyone but the American people, right? Anyone and everyone but the American people, but Californians. This is who we destroy the city for.
Violence, robbery, and alien smuggling. The roots of this aggressive ICE activity last week may have been seen last month when top Trump aide Stephen Miller, sources tell CNN, demanded that immigration agents ramp up deportation efforts and seek to arrest 3,000 undocumented immigrants a day. 3,000, that's triple the number of daily arrests from the early days of Trump's term. In response to the ICE action in LA on Friday, some protesters began gathering outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. But as day turned to night, things got...
Okay, ICE out of LA. You guys see that it's the LA Dodger symbol? I really hope that they sue whoever printed those. Please sue them. Please sue them. Please sue them for the use of your intellectual property. I would be so happy, dude. Because you know that these aren't homemade signs, right? This is quite literally funded through public officials and nonprofits. Whole lot of money laundering going on here. None of these people are well, maybe this one sign, but that LA one, it's printed. That was mass produced. Yeah, sue them, bro. Take every penny of them. Please, Dodgers. I will buy a Dodgers hat if you do that. I'm not even like a Dodgers fan. I'll buy a Dodgers hat if you sue them.
Out of hand, not only downtown, but about 10 miles east in Paramount, California. Now, law enforcement says that protesters moved in on them and officers used flashbangs to disperse the crowd. The FBI's Los Angeles field office announced a $50,000 reward for information on a man that the LAPD says assaulted an officer and damaged property. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said ICE gave city officials no warnings of these raids, which made it difficult, if not impossible, to plan for quelling any spontaneous protests. Then on Saturday, President Trump took the rare, major step of deploying the California National Guard despite the objections of the Democratic governor of California, Gavin Newsom. This was the first time a president called in the National Guard without a state's request or consent since Lyndon Johnson did it in 1965. President Trump yesterday told reporters that any violence against any law enforcement officers is unacceptable.
I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing.
Trump offended there by the notion of spitting on police officers or military while protesting immigration enforcement. He says that's not okay. We would be remiss if we did not point out that it was just 4 months ago that the very same president pardoned a different group for beating police officers.
Okay, buddy. Okay, here it comes, right? January 6th. You gotta love it, man. It's always whataboutism. But even if you want to include that, the realized property damage and the realized injuries of January 6th, not the following days, the realized injuries and damage of January 6th is a fraction of what one protest does from the left. The Summer of Love, you remember that? Burning down half the country for Fentanyl Floyd? Yeah. You just can't win with these people, man. It's like, yeah, this is bad, but remember J6? Remember that, guys? What, like, going on 4 or 5 years now?
While storming the U.S. Capitol to object to the 2020 election results. You will never hear Trump or top deputy Stephen Miller call that attack on January 6, 2021 an insurrection.
Because it wasn't.
Miller did use that term to describe the protests in Los Angeles, calling it, quote, an insurrection against the laws and sovereignty of the United States. There are quite a few, shall we call them, evolving positions taken by Democrats and Republicans since a year ago, when some Democrats were urging President Biden to federalize the National Guard in Texas to stop that state's Republican governor's anti-immigration, illegal immigration efforts. And the woman who is now our Homeland Security Secretary, then South Dakota Governor Kristi Rome, took to MAGA media and to Twitter to say, quote, if Joe Biden federalizes the National Guard, that would direct attack on states' rights, unquote. But be that as it may, we are where we are here, and Republicans would argue that Democrats have played a role in all of this by not enforcing immigration laws for decades, setting the stage for President Trump to begin this aggressive pattern of deportations, which he ran and won on. A new CBS News poll taken before the ICE action in Los Angeles finds that 55% of the Americans polled approve of the goals of Trump's deportation program, but 56% are not sold on the approach he is using to carry it out. CNN's Kyung La is on the ground in Los Angeles for us now with all the latest on how Governor Newsom today is firing back against Trump's actions.
They come for one. They come for all.
Calm following chaos in downtown Los Angeles. A peaceful protest not far from LA's City Hall.
Hey, hey, hey!
And a strong police presence near the federal building. All of downtown has been declared an unlawful assembly area after hundreds of protesters took to the streets in this part of the city, clashing with local law enforcement and the National Guard. The protests sparked by local immigration raids like this one unfolding across Los Angeles.
That's f***ed up, look.
Witnesses too afraid to speak on camera watch and film.
What was that?
As Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested street vendors at gunpoint. Outside the LA Coliseum, the site of the Olympic Games that will be held here, some protesters violently pushing back against these raids on Sunday, burning cars, defacing buildings. National Guard troops fired back, blasting tear gas and pepper spray. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass blaming the unrest squarely on the Trump administration.
Oh yeah, because, you know, LA is known for being a peaceful utopia, right? It's not like this place has been known for riots every time it doesn't get its way. Karen Bass is a foreign agent as far as I'm concerned. Cuban revolutionary injecting her communist policy into the United States. Look it up, man. Karen Bass has a history connected to Cuba, going there over 20 times, claiming it's for educational reasons. Nah, she's a foreign asset. She wants to see LA destroy itself. She wants to create the non-existent communist utopia, but it doesn't exist.
If immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night.
If you guys just didn't enforce the law, we wouldn't be upset. Why aren't you letting us just break the law?
And saying the unrest escalated after hundreds of California National Guard troops arrived on scene Sunday, deployed by President Donald Trump, overriding city and state leaders. California Governor Gavin Newsom saying in a post the president flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. California's Attorney General added the state plans to file suit over the order to send in the troops.
They did so without authorization from Governor Newsom and against the wishes of local law enforcement who were on the ground.
It felt like fuel for a fire that was unnecessary. It was 100 people. 27 people were arrested. There wasn't a reason for this. That is the concern.
Trump posting that he made a great decision sending in the Guard, saying otherwise Los Angeles would be completely obliterated.
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators, they're insurrectionists.
And what you're looking at live is this crowd. This is a new protest that has sprung up in just the last hour or so, and it is on the move in Los Angeles. We are in downtown Los Angeles. We're walking with this crowd, and something that I want to point out, Jake, is that this is a very different crowd than the one you just saw in my story. The group that you saw in my story was a union-led protest, a mix of people who are familiar faces in Los Angeles, union leaders, older people, families. This group that's on the walk, definitely not that. So the question will be is what is law enforcement going to do now as this group is starting to walk and move through Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, with a goal that I can't quite ascertain from the walk that we're looking at. But it's a sizable crowd, as you can see.
All right, Kyung La, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Kyung La on the streets of Los Angeles with us now, Democratic Congresswoman Nanette Berrigan of California. Her district, in her congressional district, includes a community of Paramount, which is just south of Los Angeles. Some protests flared up in Paramount this weekend. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So yesterday you spoke with CNN's Dana Bash on State of the Union. You acknowledged that not all the demonstrators have been peaceful, and you said, quote, those are not the people that are coming out to protest immigration. So who do you think the people who are not peaceful are? Are they outside agitators, as President Trump says?
They definitely could be. We've certainly heard some could be anarchists, people who are looking for trouble. People are just, you know, in the evenings looking for
Fun fact, Antifa actually organized a large gathering in conjunction with the people that were protesting. So there are definitely outside agitators who aren't necessarily there to protest immigration, but they're strictly to cause havoc.
some trouble to make. So I don't think those are the people that are out to protest the mass deportations. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people angry that you're having mass deportations happening in Los Angeles after months of seeing this administration send ICE agents to hospitals to wait for women to have labor, sitting there in the Labor Department to separate their kid and try to deport the mother, to schools to take kids.
Let's get one thing straight, right? Parents have full parental control of where their kid stays, even if they're a citizen. If they have the child in the United States and they're an illegal, well, the child is still a citizen, obviously, at least at the moment. I personally think we need to look into that amendment because it's not being used the way it was intended to be used. But that's neither here nor there. The matter of the fact is that that child is a citizen. If she, the mother, so chose, they could stay with family that is legal. They could go into the foster care system. Or they can go back with the mother to their country of origin. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's not ideal. Being an illegal immigrant isn't ideal. You're in a country you don't belong in, and you chose to have a child? Or even worse yet, the ones that get smuggled here by the cartel and are raped while they're being smuggled, because what are you going to do, call the police? That's who I really feel for. They didn't ask to be pregnant, ended up with a child who's now a citizen, and is brought into a very precarious situation. Still don't think that it would be right to ever abort it. That is a child, that's a human being, deserves to live. But the point of what I'm saying is that the mother is in full control. The mother's in the driver's seat. Just like with the child that had cancer that was taken with the mom that got deported, they could have chose to keep the child here, continue to receive care. They didn't. They said it's more important that my baby stay with me than to get the medical care that it needs. But, hey man, that's the mother's prerogative. What are we going to do? Split the family? No. Anytime a family is split, that was the choice of those parents that got deported.
And of course now, just rounding up people, there is no targeted enforcement. We know they're going to like Home Depot lots to look for people who are looking for jobs. They're not criminals, and that is the outrage that you're seeing. And I think that if ICE left, I think if the National Guard left, you would see this all die down. There is a way to do immigration enforcement. It's been done before. This is just the president's way to escalate things, to cause tension, and I think really to distract what's happening in Washington on all the failures, whether it's the economy tanking, whether prices going up, whether the millions he's going to take away from healthcare. This is the master in a show, and this is what he wanted.
I want to get to that in a second, but just in point of fact, you said they're not criminals. If somebody from the Trump administration were here, they'd say they may not be violent criminals, but if they're in this country illegally, they're criminals. You say that deportations can be done, or immigration enforcement can be done peacefully. What's the way to do it peacefully if not raiding places where undocumented folks are? I mean, the position of the Trump administration would be, if you're not in this country legally, you shouldn't be in this country. I mean, that's what they would argue.
And this is a misconception that if you're in this country legally, that you're a criminal, because it's a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. But there is a way to go after people. We've been doing this forever, and that is they know where the serious criminal offenders are, and they send folks out to get them. They don't just go massively round up people.
Once again, they're not massively rounding up people. They're going after one person, and then that one person ends up being in a community full of illegal immigrants. If you're there with them, you're getting rounded up too. That's how that happens. It's collateral rounding up. They're not purposely casting a wide net. They're looking for one person, but that one person ends up being with 20 people that all need to be deported. That's the case of it. And also, it's a civil matter. Not true. Penal code. You cannot legally cross the border. It is codified. It is actual law. You are breaking the law by entering the country illegally. Oh, and another tidbit for y'all. There is an assembly bill that was passed in California to where local law enforcement legally can't work with ICE. So this argument of, oh, well, we've done it correctly in the past and we can do it again. No, you can't. You barred the local government and the local police force from working with ICE. We could have someone locked up right now for a heinous crime that has a deportation order, and they're sitting in jail, and we can't contact ICE to pick them up. It's ridiculous the amount of gaslighting that these people will do. But now that we covered that, I want to go ahead and go to the Mexican president's statement. Now, it is in subtitles, so if you need to, I suggest pausing and reading. But unfortunately, that's what we're stuck with for this.
De comunicación, toda autoridad, el Gobierno de México reitera su compromiso inquebrantable con la protección y defensa de los derechos humanos de los mexicanos en el exterior, independientemente de su situación migratoria. En este sentido, hacemos un llamado respetuoso, pero firme, a las autoridades estadounidenses para que todos los procedimientos migratorios se realicen con apego al debido proceso en un marco de respeto a la dignidad humana y al Estado de Derecho. En todo caso, estas acciones. No estamos de acuerdo con las acciones violentas como forma de protesta. La quema de patrullas parece más un acto de provocación que de resistencia. Debe quedar claro, condenamos la violencia, venga de donde venga. Llamamos a la comunidad mexicana a actuar de manera pacífica.
En el exterior con una prioridad.
So you seen that, you heard that, maybe you didn't hear that. But essentially the Mexican president is reaffirming that shouldn't be violent, right? I feel like that's a very easy take to take. I feel like that should be a no-brainer. Do not condone violence. Burning a cop car down is not protest, it's provocation. But they also said that the Trump administration needs to focus on due process and follow the procedure. We are. The matter of the fact is that we are. You got people with these warrants, deportation orders, we go after them. If they are around other illegal immigrants, we can't just turn a blind eye to that. As far as the rioting and protesting, it's the government's job to quell that, to keep people safe. I don't see any procedures that are being violated here. All in all, guys, I think that using the U.S. Marines to quell the situation adds another level of reinforcement to the situation, because in my opinion, the LAPD is completely incompetent. They're completely impotent to address the situation. A large amount of them are woke liberals that believe in this anti-ICE cause and are hesitant to act on it themselves. The National Guard is good, but even the National Guard can be a little overwhelmed just from the sheer numbers, because the thing is, this would be over like that if they were to implement stronger uses of force, but you don't want to do that against your own people. Contrary to what CNN will tell you, Trump's not an authoritarian dictator. He's not going to have guns drawn on his own people if he could help it. So because the National Guard's holding back, the numbers do matter. They matter a lot, actually. So I believe the Marines are the right step to go. I just pray that all those service members and all those policemen are safe. I hope that they're able to go home afterwards and be able to really just decompress from the whole situation. This is stressful. It's another level of stressful being activated in your own country against citizens that you've only dreamed about protecting. But at the end of the day, if some of these citizens are a threat to other citizens, your job is to protect the country. All forms of terror, foreign and domestic, you must stand against. But that's the video, guys. I really appreciate you watching it with me. Hopefully I catch you in the next video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm Evan, this was the video, and I'm out. Peace.